Our topic today is abortion as a culture of death. Abortion, what is abortion? Abortion is the intentional killing of an innocent child in the womb of its mother. In the eyes of God, it is murder. When Cain killed his brother, the blood of Cain, the blood of Abel rather, was crying out to God for vengeance. In our time, abortion is one of the cultures of death that the beast from the earth has institutionalized. What is this culture of death? A culture is a way of life adopted by an individual, a group of persons, a society. For instance, the European culture, the Boko Haram culture. A culture may tend towards good or towards evil. For instance, in Nigeria, at a point in Nigeria, the culture of killing twins was an acceptable norm or culture in Nigeria. It was accepted by all. Until Mary Celeste now came and revealed the consequences, the effect, and that it was a culture not of life but of death. And so it was stopped. Likewise, the enemy, the beast in the land, has adopted various cultures, which specifically will be treating on the culture of abortion, which so many nations have legalized, which at a point Nigeria was threatened with regard to the legalization of this very culture. In the life history of Mexico, at a point in their life, they were offering human sacrifice until God made known to them the evil of such sacrifice. It was a culture that was an acceptable culture. Likewise, in various cultures that sacrifice human beings as a means of obtaining victory or good in their community. In this case, the cultures of death, which the beast has ignited through abortion, it's one of the key factors that is prevailing almost all over the world. Abortion did not start in our time and in our generation. It started right from the Old Testament. As a matter of fact, there was an idol or a demon that ignites the sacrifice of children to himself in order to obtain glory. In the Old Testament, abortion was carried out by way of bringing out a child and killing that child immediately, being offered to the demon Moloch. In our time, in preparation for the second coming of Christ, the Lord revealed the consequences of this very culture, abortion, how it affects and is affecting our generation. What are the spiritual implications of committing abortion? Because abortion in itself is murder, it is killing. The intention is worse than even what the Boko Haram are doing. For instance, an innocent child in the womb is destroyed. The destiny of that child is destroyed. In the case of Boko Haram, you have the wisdom to even run. But in the case of an innocent child in the womb of the mother that is aborted, the sole right and sole glory of that child belongs to the mother at that point in time. And the protection is totally on the part of the mom to either defend the child or to destroy the child. As a culture of death, some of the spiritual implications include the innocent child killed speaks out in vengeance. Just like in the case of Cain, who killed his brother Abel, the blood was speaking out, calling out for vengeance. A doctor who, at a point in his life, was known for committing abortion, whenever he's on his car, what he sees is so many children crying out, shouting, and at that point, this man, as a doctor, began to scream. This was how this man eventually died. In a public you would suddenly see him screaming, "They are burning me, children, there are children all over." The effect of the abortion committed by this very doctor. And so likewise, on the part of so many who have killed and think nothing has happened. One is that the mother or whomever has sponsored this very killing has prevented that child from manifesting the God's given talent and glory. A child once took in school, having come from a rich background, and the parents told her, "Go and kill this child, go and commit abortion." And she said, "No, I will not kill. Though I have committed fornication, I will not go to the extent of committing a greater crime of murder." And she was driven away from the home. For so many years, she suffered to raise up that child. And eventually, the child became the first child in the community to become a priest. What would have happened if that lady at that point had adhered to the advice of the parents? The destiny of that community would not have been raised. The glory of God in that community would not have been raised by that child becoming a priest. How can we be involved in abortion? So many people think that, abortion is just for the lady or the girl child. But these are various ways in which we can partake or be held accountable to God for having committed what? Abortion. One is doing it yourself by whatever means. As I speak to you, with the eventual stoppage, or will I say, enforcement of this very legalization of abortion in Nigeria, the beast adopted a different dimension, using drugs, using pills towards the destruction of the lives in the womb. There are pills that have been adopted that are now used, and even drugs, and even plants that their mission is geared towards the destruction of lives. When we use these pills, we may not know that something is taking place in our body. Most people, they go to chemists, they go to the hospital to buy these pills. This is another dimension that the beast has adopted towards bringing about abortion and legalizing it without our full knowledge of it. An instance is my journey to one of the countries, Ghana, for instance. One of the institutions, most of the young girls, what they do is that they already know of a particular plant. So before carrying out, maybe having sex, or before or after, they now take the plant. What does it do? It destroys conception. While there is conception, it goes to what? To destroy it, and they will be living what? Their normal life. That is what pills in our time and our generation does. Destruction of lives of innocent children indirectly. Another means in which we can be held accountable or liable is when we give out money, or we direct people to where abortion is done, or how to buy the pills. Another aspect that, which of course makes us liable before God, is when we market these very contraceptives. Go to most of the pharmaceutical shops, you see them marketing these very pills. And by so doing, they are contributing towards abortion. An instance is a man who markets, for instance, cocaine. If you are marketing cocaine at a point in Nigeria and you are caught, you'll be killed. Likewise, those who engage in it. So, being partaker in abortion, you can be a partaker by marketing abortion pills. And so you'll be held accountable and liable. And nations that have keyed into this very culture of abortion, the earth begins to speak against such people. When we go to the book of Leviticus 18 from 25, the Lord says, these are the abominable things that these people did. And because of that, I have driven them out of the land, because they defied the land. And the earth begins to speak against them. And that is what happens when such culture is carried out, is legalized. So the beast from the earth, utilizing the human agents, which is the Antichrist, has been galloping from nation to nation. Many Christian nations have legalized abortion. Even some churches have gone to the extent of legalizing this very culture that the beast in the land has actually ignited. Killing, destruction of the innocent child in the womb. A great example of when life begins. Somebody would want to find out, when does life begin? Spiritually. When does life begin? Physically. Spiritually, we know that life begins from conception in the womb. This is what John the Baptist, while in the womb of his mother, acknowledged the presence of Jesus in the womb. And the mother of John the Baptist declared that as soon as your words, your greetings reached my ears, that is referring to our mother Mary, that the child in my womb leapt for joy. Which means communication to the world, communication with God starts from the womb. And therefore, making it ungodly, making it unjustified for any man, any woman to kill through abortion. Secondly is that abortion deprives us of the glory of God on the part of the woman and on the part of the community. A great woman who is the mother of Ronaldo, at a point in 2000 during the presentation of the award, she was in tears. Why was she in tears? Because at a point in her life, she thought of aborting Ronaldo. She did all she could because she was poor. There was no help coming her way, and she did all she could. She was taking drugs in order to eliminate the child, but the child, Ronaldo, could not. And eventually he had to bring up, actually aborted Ronaldo. What would have become of her destiny? She would have brought upon herself curses, and the glory that Ronaldo, this very child, has brought upon her wouldn't have materialized. It's part of the consequences of killing or engaging in abortion. So I want to encourage us, for those who have involved in abortion, the Lord is saying this: the need for us to turn back and to seek for baptism upon these very aborted children. Because any child that is killed through abortion seeks back vengeance. Because that child was deprived. Whoever, either the doctor, the mother, had deprived that very child of the fundamental aspect of Christianity, which is baptism. Because any child that is killed in the womb does not go through baptism. And that is why David recorded that he was a sinner from his mother's womb. And so one of the consequences that one deprives a child of that sacrament of baptism. And for us, for so many, God is also encouraging us to pray for every aborted child, so that the blood from his heart, the blood and the water that God showed from his merciful heart in John 19:33-35, where the ocean of mercy could flow upon such children, so that their sins could be removed and be cleansed and made whole again, so that they can be united with God in heaven. For heaven is meant for a perfect place where perfect people exist. And so if there is a sin which exists in every man's life, any child that is aborted cannot go to heaven with sin. So that child needs to be cleansed through the prayers, especially of the woman, of the mother who aborted him or her own child. And so the Lord is encouraging us in this time not to key into this very program of the beast in the land by committing abortion, so that the earth does not speak against us and the causes and the consequences does not behold on us. Thank you and God bless.